So only 7 people did my homework. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people. That's not a lot of people. That's 1 less than 8, 1 more than 6. So 7's not a good number. I need more people to do their homework. So what I will do is I will send you the homework again, and I'd like you to complete it again, because this week we are going to do something a little more project based. Not necessarily project, but it's things that you have been doing and things that you have done. And what I'm going to ask you to do is put them all together and make a book of plant adaptations. The whole point of this book is that you will collect all of your thoughts and put them into, I'll find out now in a second, Dino, I can't remember. I don't remember the name of the list, but I know only 7 people did it. So the whole point of creating a book like this is that you will put your collected thoughts about different plant parts and their functions, as well as some of their adaptations. And I'll give you an opportunity to then talk about your books in front of the class, and also to share some of your ideas in front of the class as well, if you did your homework or not. Okay?
Okay.
Good stuff. Dino, I can't remember, is take one plant form, one function, for example, a root. Okay. What I'll ask you to do then is to talk about what the root does, what's the job of the root, all the jobs of the root, not just to suck up water from the ground, but to anchor the plant in place, etc., etc., etc. I would like you to choose or explain some different root adaptations. For example, you have tap roots and then you have fibrous roots. I would then like you to choose one plant. From that one plant, I then would like you to give examples of the type of root that it has and why, this is the important one, why does that plant have that adaptation? So what we're going to do today to try help you to get ideas about some types of plants to choose and also why they have adaptations is what we're going to do is we're going to look at habitats and environments. We're going to look at them in a lot closer detail, okay? And the reason of looking them in a lot closer detail is to help you understand all the things that go into why a plant has an adaptation. And the reason we do it in great detail like this as well is because it's also going to help you when we go to our next unit too. Our next unit is going to be about animal form and function, animal form and adaptation. So getting a good understanding of why plants do it is also going to give you an understanding of why animals do it as well. So let's jump into that today, okay? As I said, today we're going to look at environments and habitats. Who can tell me what is an environment? Sir, what's an environment? Jon Snow, you're laughing too much. Jon Snow, what's an environment? B, what's an environment?
A place.
A place. Okay. What's an environment?
It's where animals and plants live.
So it's a place where animals and plants live. What is a habitat? Kent.
Habitat.
Ming Cho, what's an environment? A, what's an environment, or what's a habitat?
Habitat is a place where any species live.
Yes, okay. So to explain the difference between an environment and a habitat, okay? A habitat is the place in which something lives, for example, plants or animals. An environment, on the other hand, is things which can affect something in a particular area, okay? So an environment is everything that goes into that area. For example, the air, the temperature, the wind, they are all parts of the environment. The habitat is affected by the environment, okay? So habitat is the place where things live, but environment is all the things that can affect where something lives. That's a bit of a difficult understanding, okay? They seem like they're kind of the same thing, but there's this slight little difference. Habitat is here. Environment is everything around it, inside it, underneath it, in and around it. Everything that can make it move or change or do whatever, that's exactly what a cat. The cat comes out of its home and it starts jumping around the snow, having a really good, fun time. Exactly like you would do if you saw snow for the first time. So, what is the difference there between a habitat and an environment? What's the difference? What's changed, okay? What in that environment has changed everything around it? What's happened? Kent, what's changed? What's different about the habitat and the environment?
The habitat is snowy.
It's snowy, right? Okay, so what's happened is the environment has changed and it started to snow. So you had a habitat, which was probably just grass and outside a house, normal, nice. Then the environment changed. It got cold and it got snowy and everything got different. How do you think this affects the cat? Rosie, how do you think the snow affects the cat? It's all snowy.
It moves slower.
Yeah, it moves slower, right? Minnie. So, yeah, so look at the picture I have on the screen, right?
Yes.
You see the cat come outside and it's behaving differently, right?
Yes.
So why do you think it's behaving differently?
Because it is cold.
Yeah, it's cold, right? So all of these things, the environment has changed and it's drastically changed how the cat like moves, right? When do you ever see a cat jump like that? It doesn't really happen, does it? When do you ever see a cat move so slowly? It doesn't really happen like that, right? So what's happened is the cat, sorry, has had to adapt because its habitat has been changed by the environment around it. The same thing happens with plants, but plants don't necessarily react or adapt as quickly as animals do. They take a lot longer time. So if we were to look at different types of environment, who can give me some examples of different types of environment? I'm going to go around to a few people here. Jasmine, tell me one type of environment or habitat. Okay, no problem. Mid-A, tell me one type of environment.
Water.
Swamp, okay? Swamp. Or the ocean. Okay?
Yes.
So, B, tell me another one.
Forest.
Forest, good job. Hermione.
Desert.
Desert, yes. Good job. Dino. Sorry. Pete.
Mountain.
Mountain, yes. Good job. Monkey.
Underwater.
Yeah, underwater is a good example. Kent.
Rainforest.
Rainforest, yeah. Good job. Snow, tell me another type of environment.
Grassland.
Grassland, yeah. Good job. Bill.
A desert.
Desert, okay. Lily.
Rainforest.
Okay, good job. Emily, tell me another one.
Building.
Buildings, okay. So we can say urban, right? A city environment. All of these are types of environment, okay? And in each single one of them, you're going to have different animals, different plants. They're all going to grow and things are going to grow in different ways. So here's some quick examples. You've got mountains, grasslands, polar regions, wetlands, marine life. That's things that live above and below the ocean. Urban, you've got deserts, and you've also got rainforest. So all of these have different plants, different animals. Quickly, let's have a bit of fun. Okay, let's see. Gonna do animal riddles. So I will say an animal riddle. I want you to tell me where that animal lives. I have 2 feet. I have 2 wings. I can't fly, but I can swim very fast. I like to eat fish and I waddle like this. Yes, Bill.
I have 4 legs. I have a long head. I am not a giraffe, and I have 2 ears and I have 2 antlers.
Yeah, okay. Who knows what the answer is? B.
A deer.
And where does a deer live?
In the forest.
Okay, good job. B, your go.
I have no legs. I'm long.
Fish.
A fish.
No. Long.
A fish. No.
A snake. Yes.
And where does a snake live?
It lives in the rainforest.
Good job. Okay, Lucy, go. Okay, I have 4 legs. I have a long tail. People like to make me into shoes and bags. I have a lot of teeth, and my jaw can only move up and down. Emily.
I think it is a crocodile.
Yeah, crocodile. I like to be turned into bags and shoes. Emily, tell me, where does a crocodile live? Oh, yeah, Jon Snow, where does a crocodile live?
In wetlands.
In wetlands. Yeah, good job. Good job, buddy. Well done. Yeah, so crocodiles live in wetlands. Now, the reason we did that is because all of those environments and those habitats are slightly different, okay? Don't worry. So, guessing what the adaptations are. So, if you were to say and try to guess what adaptations are for those types of plants and flowers in those particular types of area, what we need to do is look at the environment. So, if you're to look at environment, things you would look at are, what is the soil like? What is the weather like? Is it windy? Is it rainy? Is it sunny? What's the temperature like? All of these variables have something to do with a plant's adaptation. We've already seen it with cacti. We've seen it with lots of other plants. We've seen it with Venus flytraps. We've seen it with another one. Oh, I have another one for you. Another type of carnivorous plant, if anyone is interested. It's called a butterwort. Butterwort. It's another type of plant that likes to eat insects, and it lives in mountains and rainforests in Mexico. If any of you are interested, have a look at that. By anyone, I'm saying Bill. So it's called a butterwort. Butterwort, okay? I was going to talk about it for mountains, but I thought this was easier. And so let's talk about mountains first, okay? So mountain plants. What do you think the environment of a mountain is? Elsa, what do you think the environment of a mountain is?
It is cold.
Yeah, cold. Kent, what else do you think a mountain's like?
Dry.
Dry. Cold, dry, yeah, good job. Hermione, what else?
Snowy and cold.
Snowy and cold, yeah.
Can be a forest.
Forest, okay, cool. Forest, yes, good job. So, I'd be a lot of things. They are windy, they are cold, and there is less air. There is less air the higher up you go. So, has anyone ever climbed a high mountain? And when you've climbed a really high mountain, at the very top, you kind of feel yourself short of breath. It's not just because you're tired, because what we call the air thinner, okay? As you go up in altitude in the world, what happens is that on sea level, so the lower you are to the ground, the amount of oxygen in the air is more. As you go up, the amount of oxygen starts to decrease. So what you tend to find is that the increased pressure from going high up causes your veins to contract. Here's an interesting question. At 2,000 feet above sea level, or 2,000 meters above sea level, at what temperature does water boil?
100 degrees Celsius.
No. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. When you go about 2,000 meters up in the air, it decreases by about 20%. Water will boil at 80 degrees Celsius. The higher you go, the pressure, increased pressure from actually getting above, and the drag down from gravity is going to cause water to actually boil at a lower temperature. So similar things happen to mountain plants, okay? So they have to adapt to deal with the fact that there's less air, that it's really windy and it's cold up there. So how do you think plants have adapted? What do you think they've done to survive in places where it's really windy, it's cold, there's not much air? What do you think they do? Okay, when it's windy, even though it's never really that windy in Hanoi, trust me, I come from a very, 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 very windy country. Hanoi in Vietnam is not windy. But have you ever gone down to Da Nang or Hoi An or Nha Trang or Mui Nhé or even Halong, Kappa? And it's really windy in those places, right? You get a lot of wind because it's by the sea, and you get the sea come in and whoosh at the wind, and you can feel it. So what do you do to get away from the wind? You get low, right? You try to get underneath the wind because you don't want to get blown away by the wind, right? So what plants will do, and if you have a look at that picture on this, if you look at all the green in that little video I have, you don't see any tall trees, right? All the tall trees don't exist there because they can't survive. So you get mosses and you get these ferns and you get these small kind of grass-like shrubs which grow very, very, very close to the ground to make sure that they can stay away. Now, the soil in mountains. What's in the soil in mountains? Do you know what's a mountain made of? Rock, right? So if the soil is all rocks, what do you think the roots of any of those plants are going to have to do? Emily, what do you think the roots of a plant in a mountain are going to be like?
I think it will go. It will go down.
Yeah, they grow down. They're also really strong. There's a couple of plants that actually grow up through rocks, and they grow up so strongly through the rocks that they break rocks. What you can see happen is that some plants will grow up through. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever gone to somewhere where they recently changed the road, right, or the path on the side of the road? And what you see happen is you get these little bits of flower come up in the bits of the path, right? Same thing happens on mountains, except much stronger. They grow up through rock. The plants are so strong that they actually grow up and they crack through the rock. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. So there are some of the ways that mountain flowers have adapted. So here's an idea. Due to the harsh conditions, harsh means like bad, not very nice. Mountain plants grow low to the ground to escape the wind. They have thin needle-shaped leaves, or even waxy leaves, because they're stronger, and many produce cones to help trees. The smaller ones stay away from the wind. They're just normal grasses, etc. Okay. This is a Douglas fir right here. Okay, it kind of looks like a really big, fluffy Christmas tree. Their leaves, they need to conserve water. They don't want to lose water. They have taproots. Okay, so they store a lot of nutrients under the ground. Remember, because they place where snows off. Their stems, they're bendable. Okay, so even though they kind of got this thick bark, they're still bendy and elastic. They move, so they don't break from the amount of snow. Because imagine the amount of snow to get caught on that tree. It's going to be long, it's going to be quite heavy, and still going to have to stand in the spot, and still got seeds stored in the point. So that's just an example of a Douglas fir tree. And this is the way I want you to start thinking when you are going to do your project, which I'm going to talk about now because I want to make sure we have time to answer any questions. So you're going to create a book. This book will be about different plant adaptations. Each day you choose one part of the plant and write about the parts function, what it does to the plant, and write about a specific adaptation like we saw today. So, for example, you saw the way the plant survived in winter, like the Douglas fir. You saw that it has a taproot. We always thought the taproots were kind of to do with vegetables, but now you have a tree, a very big tree, that's using taproots in order to store nutrients for it. That's a really good example of a root adaptation that you may not have known had existed until today. So at the end of the week, in the beginning of next week, you're going to present your books to the class. So what I want you to do today is I want you to choose a root, okay? So I want you to talk about roots, what the function of roots are, what roots do for plants and for flowers, and then I want you to choose one type of plant or flower and to talk about the roots. Make it as interesting as you possibly can. I know roots might not be the most interesting things in the world, but the more interesting that you can make it, the better. And I'd like you to draw me a picture as well, okay? So take roots, write about roots, choose one flower, write about the root adaptation for that flower, and draw me a picture. And then we'll start making a book, okay? So does anyone have any questions about what they're going to do? Hermione.
Can I write about the cactus?
Yep, as long as you're writing about the roots of the cactus, you can go for it as much as you want. Good for you.
Can I write about any plant I want?
Any plant you want. It's completely up to you. Emily?
Could I write about the dead plant?
Okay. Yeah, Minnie.
Some.
Any route you want, Minnie. That's up to you. Okay. You're not silly. You get it. Write about any route you want, as long as it's interesting. You find it interesting, and you can draw a picture of it and get some good information about it. Cool.